We here at Attack of the Killer Podcast are sad to report that the inventor of the videocassette tape died this week. His memory will never be erased, although it will get fuzzy over time. Videotapes on this episode of Attack of the Killer Podcast.
Attention planet Earth and beyond. Stay tuned for Attack of the Killer Podcast. 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 That's time for the show. Yay.
Hello and welcome to a retro, low-quality analog episode of Attack of the Killer Podcast. The show that has been dubbed over and over and over again to the point where the picture is so muddy it looks like it needs a bath. I'm your host, Insane Mike, and this is episode 274, and our topic this time is videotapes. Movies involving the greatest movie format of all time,
come on.
VHS.
The views of Insane Mike do not represent.
Now, if this is your first time listening to Attack of the Killer Podcast, what we are all about is that we are a horror movie podcast where a group of friends, we get together, we pick a topic, and we discuss films within that topic. We're just all friends hanging out, having a good time, talking horror movies, so there may be spoilers. If you like the show, you need to become an attacker. What's an attacker, you ask? I'm glad you asked. An attacker is more than just a fan of the show. It is family. By simply donating to the show, you can receive various perks such as a membership card, certificate, and sticker, bonus episodes, and exclusive videos. All your donations go right back into making a bigger and better show for you, and you will become part of the Attack of the Killer Podcast family if you do so. Which could also include our newest perk, the Attack of the Killer Chat,
Oh, yeah.
which is an exclusive chat with other attackers and past and present hosts. You can get all that and so much more by going to jointheattackers.com. Sign up for the tier that best suits you. Again, that's jointheattackers.com.
Hey, can we give a shout out to Holly one more time? I felt so bad after the last episode. We kind of saved her like right to the end.
Yeah, definitely another shout out
Yeah,
to
she deserves another.
attacker Holly, our good friend Holly. Yeah, welcome to
Welcome.
being an attacker.
Yeah,
Welcome
you
to
rock.
hell.
Hey.
I apologize, Holly.
to the snake pit.
And I can't remember if we did it then,
Yeah.
but we did do it then. Regardless,
Yeah.
welcome, and you are now one of us.
We'll make her one of us, a loving cup, a loving cup. We accept her one of us, we accept her one of us.
Gooba gobble, gooba gobble.
We accept her, we accept her. Google gobble, Google gobble. One of us, one of us. Google gobble.
They're going to make you one of them, my peacock.
And now it is time to introduce you to the podcast crew. He bought himself a new weight loss tape. It goes right over his mouth. Andy!
Hi, my name's Andy, and I want to be your friend. How does that sound?
Hi-de-ho! The weirdest porn in his VHS collection is one where a woman has sex with Mr. Peanut, the mascot from Planters Peanuts. I haven't seen it, but he says it's fucking nuts. Jason!
Oh, my Lord. That's awful. And true. Hey, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm so glad you're listening. Thank you.
He has one video store left in his town, although it only has one movie to rent. When he complains, they say you can take it or leave it. Tad, everybody!
Hey, guys. I was like, is anyone going to laugh at that one? No? Okay.
I didn't
The
expect that.
enthusiasm is infectious, man.
All right, here's a math problem for you. If train A leaves the station B at 11:30 a.m. and is traveling at 60 miles per hour, and train B leaves station C at 9:45 a.m. at 45 miles per hour,
Lord.
Fuck
then
is
why
this?
haven't you signed up for Shudder yet?
Okay.
Shudder is the best in horror streaming. Classic films to all new Shudder originals, Shudder has something for any and all horror fans. And you can get a month of Shudder for free thanks to us here at Attack of the Killer Podcast. Just enter our promo code AOTKP and you can get a month of Shudder for free. Again, our promo code is AOTKP. Get your first month for free and begin your journey with the horror streaming service that manoflittlewords.com calls cool.
There's also no math problems there, so it's really cool.
If you ever wondered what the cast of Attack of the Killer Podcast has been watching when we are not watching movies for the show, well, we're going to tell you anyway. Here's Tad with what we watched.
Well, thank you, Mike. I'm going to lift the curtain a little bit, and we had some tech issues when we went to record our last episode, so we have an extra week of what we watched. So I'm expecting this to go a little bit longer, maybe. Andy, what have you watched?
Well, I was able to get in like the full season of Unsolved Mysteries on Netflix, and it's really good this season. Not that true crime is ever really good, but it was very intriguing. Lots of murder and mayhem. I know the first episode just will tear your guts out because it's awful. But yeah, that I watched on Netflix. I watched a documentary called Leave No Trace, and it's about the Boy Scouts of America and about how literally 82,000 kids from the past came forward and reported sexual abuse. That's 82,000 kids, man.
Andy's had a lot of fun this weekend. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I
man.
know.
Wow.
I know. I don't know why I'm so drawn to things that just
Horrible.
Yeah, that just incite anger in me, but I don't know why. But I mean, it was so outraged, and it gets even better. I also watched a documentary called Killer Sally, and it's about this weightlifting couple, and she eventually got tired of her husband's abuse, and she killed him on Valentine's Day. Basically, racked a shotgun and just blew his chest open in the kitchen in front of her kids. And then she went back, and they weren't his kids, but I mean, he was taking care of them. And she went back, and got another shell, and then literally just blew his whole goddamn chin off. And but like any good crime documentary, you start to question, because she was actually really violent too. But then the kid, one thing that really struck out to me is this, when the kid was saw it happen, I remember walking over him and just being thankful because I know that he couldn't hurt me or my mom anymore. And this lady, she went to prison for 15 years. She's out now, and she got remarried, and it's an interesting documentary because they were both bodybuilders. Also,
Is that what drew you to it? Bodybuilding and true crime together. It's Andy's
yeah,
wheelhouse.
actually, it's kind of interesting. 'Cause I had heard the story before, but this was more of like a deep dive. And she was she also would do weird. It's not really prostitution, but it's kind of is. But she would wrestle men on the side, men that wanted to be meet her in hotel rooms, and she would just power lift them and put them in sleeper holds. I mean, there was no actual sex involved, but she would get paid to do that too. I mean, it's on Netflix if you want to check it out. It's strange, but also, and this will chew up your weekend because almost every damn special feature on this Vinegar Syndrome release that I got is some are 80 minutes long, some are 40 minutes long. Literally none of the special features on this thing are under 30 minutes. So I mean, you could just make a weekend out of the special features, and it's Vinegar Syndrome's release of Texas Chainsaw Massacre Part 2, and it is awesome. This is like, if they come out with another release of this film, they're not going to be able to top it. This has got every single bell and whistle that you can think of. Highly recommended if you're a Texas Chainsaw Part 2 fan, because you won't have to buy another disc after this one.
And if you're not, then fuck you.
That's right.
Yeah.
Tell him, Chad.
That movie rules.
That's right. Eat a never-ending buffet of dicks if you don't like it.
Unless you're an attacker, and it's okay.
Then, yeah, that's
No.
totally okay.
Yeah, but go ahead and have like a dick or two, because
Yeah, just not a whole bowl.
Appetizer dish or
just
something.
yeah. I mean, just your normal daily intake would be fine. I also, I don't want to. I'll let Mike just completely take this one because I know he saw it. I did watch Weird Al, had a blast. The only thing I will say this, I feel like there's two scripts out there. They actually wrote the real Weird Al story, and then Weird Al's just like, okay, now I need to make the parody of it, and then we'll shoot that. And I also watched a very, very awesome movie, which I hope all of us can talk about this. Can we please say that we have all watched Barbarian?
Yes.
Which I don't think Jason has.
Yes.
Have you,
Yeah.
Jason?
He
Yep.
finally did, yeah.
Okay, I didn't see it
Okay.
on our movie list. It's not marked, so you better check that, Jason.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, I still need to get on the movie list. Oh my gosh. I didn't even know it was out. The Barbarian, awesome. I have a very good feeling that Slang from Don't Breathe and Richard Brake from this movie, they live on the same block, like in this rundown part of Detroit. Like
I
the
hope
sexual,
not. Gosh.
the sexual, creepy, predator block, like. But wow, really, really enjoyed this. Like I said, it wasn't what I was expecting. They throw the curveball right away when you see, spoiler, Bill Skarsgård get murdered, because you think it gives every indication that he's going to be a bad guy, and then it just it kind of 180s in a direction that that you're not expecting. Even the way that the movie is shot and how the story is told isn't the way that I was expecting, which is really good too. But Slang and whatever this other guy, I think they live on the same, sexual pervert block. Only in the rundown part of Detroit, I don't think they need to post signs. But that is pretty much what I watched.
And it's interesting. Just a quick note on Barbarian. Like, I went into it blind, and I sort of came to the group, and I was like, everybody got to check this out. And I feel like this is a new trend, maybe with like streaming, or I don't know if it's, I don't know what it is with the internet, but it's like I've noticed this trend where a movie comes out that's not hyped up, like no one's really looking forward to it, and it surprises everybody, and so everybody's like, oh, check it out, it's really cool, and then the second wave of people go into it thinking this is going to be the best thing ever, and they see it, and they don't, and they're let down, and then they're like, this sucks. So I'm seeing this like second wave of people who are saying it sucks, and it makes me really sad, because it doesn't suck, but I feel like they built up something in their mind from everybody's hype, and it's like, it's a weird way to absorb things, like, I don't know, but interesting note. I've noticed that with some movies recently.
It's hard to match the hype in people's heads that they think of what they're gonna get. I hear you on that.
I don't know. I have a feeling, just for me with Barbarian, and what I tell everybody about it is like, go in with absolutely no idea, no expectations. So maybe the hype is really hurtful to this film in particular, because to me, when I watched this movie, to me, this was like an experience of like what it would have been like in 1960 to see Psycho on the big screen for the first time ever,
Flip the script right in the middle. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And knowing nothing about it is I feel like the only way to watch this movie and truly enjoy it. So So, I don't know, maybe that has something to do with the second wave. Poop
And I also think it's a thing now, and you're allowed to not like things. That's completely fine. But I also feel
Right.
like it's really cool now, like on the internet, to hate things that everyone loves. I mean, it's always been that way. As soon as a band becomes popular, oh, I hate them now because they're popular. But it's just like, how can you hate this one, man? It's so much fun. Like, I just. It blows my mind that anyone that loves horror could actually have any kind of hate for this movie. And if you do, and you're over analyzing it, just enjoy a fucking movie, guys.
Yeah.
And Justin Long being a sleazy little turd. Just yeah.
If you see him pop up in a movie, you know he's getting fucked up. But Mike, what have you watched?
Okay, sit back and relax because it's now time to talk about the movie of the year. And Jason and I already talked about it on the bonus episode. I don't care. I'm talking about it again. Of course, Weird the Al Yankovic Story.
Yes.
It's freaking awesome. I love it. I'm not kidding when I say it's the movie of the year for me. Yes, I'm biased, but I don't care.
Well, I will say this. I will say this, sort of relating. Sorry to interrupt. Back
No,
to
that's
our
fine.
conversation we were just having. A Weird Al movie. Even though you're saying you're biased, if this came out and was not good, it would have broken your heart. And I feel like you would have been honest if you didn't end up liking it.
This is very true. It would have been extremely devastating.
I can't remember the last time I fucking laughed so much. My face hurt from this movie.
Oh yeah, ditto. And Jason, did you finally watch it?
No.
God damn it!
I will say this. Props to
I know.
Evan Rachel Wood. She had the Madonna gum chewing like down to a T.
Everybody in this is fucking awesome.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, like, sorry, Mike, but
No, it's fine.
just Rainn Wilson. I mean,
He's my favorite part.
He's fucking born for that role, right?
Oh yeah, he was great. And I talked about this on the bonus episode. He is my favorite part. I wanted more scenes of Dr. Demento and less of Weird Al. But what makes that character and Rainn Wilson's performance so good is that, well, one, it's not like Dr. Demento at all, which is hilarious. But it's that role that you see in every music biopic. That asshole manager, that godlike mentor that every music biopic has.
Yeah.
And this time it's Dr. Demento, and the top hat never comes off, even during the acid trip. He's still wearing the top hat, and Rainn Wilson is just so hilarious in it, and it's more. I feel like it's a little more subtle performance than what we're used to with Rainn Wilson's comedy, but he nails it so well. That character as a whole, not the fact that it's Dr. Demento, but just the whole that part that character is in every biopic.
I thought it was hilarious just watching, like, what was it, Toby Huss just like pummel the shit out of that accordion salesman, just hitting him, and just, my God, his head would have been hamburger if he would have hit him that many times. But Jesus.
Put him into the ground, yeah.
Yeah, he would have pounded him into the floorboards. Christ.
I feel like this has got something, a little bit of something for everybody. If you like comedy, comedy films at all, like, you're going to enjoy this. It is extremely funny. It is very well made, and a really great parody of these music biopics. And as a hardcore Weird Al fan, there is a ton of stuff in there for them too, for all of us too. As I was picking up on so many little inside jokes and little nods to his real life biopic. That
Right.
there's just a lot of background stuff for Weird Al fans in there, and and I said this on the bonus episode too, that I was like watching. I've been reading articles and stuff. It's like Easter eggs that you didn't know about in the Weird Al movie, and I would read the article and I'm like, I knew all those. like I was really hoping for some validation on ones that I had seen that I'm assuming is a nod to Weird Al's real life, but I can't confirm it yet. So like IMDb trivia wasn't any help, and like yeah. But such an amazing cast of cameos too. The freaking pool party scene
Yeah.
is so amazing, and and it's still probably my favorite scene, Jason. After because now I'm on my third viewing.
I was
of the
going to
movie.
ask.
Yep.
Yeah.
My goodness.
I watched it once with Brandy. I watched it once with Simon, and I watched it once for myself. But
Yeah, I was sort of like in that scene. My only complaint, and it's not even a complaint, I would just say for how many cameos and the celebrities, there was like 3 or 4 that were just like normal people playing. Like I think like Elton John, and a few of them were
Yeah.
just like normal like extra actors, and I'm like, for having so many celebrity cameos in that scene, like or comedian cameos, it was like just got to fill a few more roles. I would just love to have everybody be like a recognizable celebrity, but that's not even a nitpick. I mean, they gave us so many.
Right.
did you know that was Emo Phillips as Salvador Dali?
Not until I looked at it on the IMDb. I mean,
Yeah.
I recognize almost everybody except for maybe him and Alice Cooper.
Oh yeah, Alice Cooper, wasn't he one of the? He was one of
Lonely
the
Island
Lonely
guys.
Island guys.
Same
yeah.
with Pee Wee.
Yeah, Pee Wee was the other Lonely Island guy. Where was Andy Samberg and all that?
Yeah, I was a bit confused by that, but I watched Al on one of the late night shows talking about this. I think he was on he was on Kimmel with Radcliffe, and he said like all those actors basically did it for free because they paid for their own flights when they heard about this scene. Like
Oh, that's cool.
they were fighting over who got to play who because
Aw.
the director was like, "Can you give me a list of names of celebrities that you have that would be willing to be in this?" And Weird Al was like, "Here's my Christmas card list." And of course, everybody they called was like, they're like, "Look, we're making a movie for Roku. Like, we don't have money to pay you." And they're like, "I want to be in Weird Al's movie. I'll pay for my own flight. Like, craft services is enough. Like, I'll just be in the movie. It's fine."
And it's cool. I mean, I was so excited when I realized that was Emo Phillips because you've got his. I guess you said his Christmas card list. So you have a lot of his like what I would call his modern friends. Patton Oswalt's in there. You got Conan O'Brien. You got Jack Black, Jonah Ray. But then you get like his friends from the '80s that you don't get to see too much of anymore, like Emo Phillips, for example. So.
And what was I?
MacGruber was in it, wasn't he? What's that? I can't
Oh, yeah.
think of his
Oh yeah,
name.
he was.
Will Forte.
He was
Thank
one
you.
of the record executives, one of the Scotty
Saying how
brothers.
much he
Basically
sucks.
playing Will Forte, like who's a really mean asshole. But
Yeah. And Al was the other half of the Scotty brothers.
my dumbass boss before the movie came out was like, I saw the trailer and I think they might have exaggerated some stuff. I'm like,
Oh, my God.
please watch this and think it's real. I would love.
Please.
I would adore, like, it would be so funny to have him talk after, but they said, I mean, that it came, obviously I'm telling you, Mike, he knows everything. It came from the original Funny or Die trailer,
Yep.
like 10 years ago,
good.
where Patton Oswalt played Dr. Demento, and he was still going to, and then he, like, broke his foot, so when you see him do that cameo in the movie, he's on, like, one of those little scooters where you have to put your leg up, and that's why they only show him from, like, the chest up.
Oh, wow.
Oh.
Okay.
But, I think no slam on him that the casting ended up getting better because of that. And
I agree. See, when the casting was first announced and Rainn Wilson was chosen over Patton Oswalt, because Patton Oswalt is doing his best Dr. Demento in that fake original trailer, and it's really good. It's really good. But in the feature-length film, I would rather it be Rainn Wilson, because he wasn't trying to do Dr. Demento. He was doing the said character that I keep going on about, like the mentor character. And it worked so much better, I think. At least in
And-
the feature film aspect, anyway.
And Aaron Paul played Weird Al in the trailer, and they try to get him in for a cameo in that same scene as Patton Oswalt. I think he was supposed to play the Patton Oswalt cameo. And he showed up for, like, costume fitting, and they were, filmed recently, so everybody on set gets tested for COVID, and he tested positive.
Oh no.
And so they were like, sorry, you can't be in it. So they were like, Patton, would you like to step in and we can shoot you from the chest up? So, it's interesting, like a ever evolving door of huge celebrities that wanted to be in this thing and are in this thing. And just, man, what a celebration. What a genius fucking, I never could have imagined, like,
Yeah.
only Weird Al could take a biopic and do a parody of a biopic. Like, it's just fucking so genius.
About his own life. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Just, I mean, and just a perfect idea. Like, so meta. It's absolutely untouchable. So good.
Agreed. And for those out there who haven't watched it yet, stick through the whole thing, even the credits, because he does an original song for the end credits, and it's just as funny as the rest of the movie. I was laughing hysterically at the credits for crying out loud.
I hope that at least the song gets nominated
It won't, because
for best original song.
It doesn't. The movie doesn't qualify for the Oscars since it
Because
was
of streaming?
Yeah.
But the music might. I don't know.
I don't know. People are campaigning for it. Honestly, yeah. But like, and Al himself really begged and pleaded with Roku to do at least a small
The
enough
minimum
theatrical
amount,
run.
yeah.
Yeah. Because I think it's supposed to play like 8 theaters or something like
For
that
like a
to
week or
qualify.
something, yeah.
Yeah. To qualify for the Oscars.
What a stupid
yeah.
fucking rule. It's 2022, guys.
I know.
Like,
Let's catch up, right?
right. Yeah.
Anyway.
So, coming from a guy who runs a theater, like, fuck off, you know?
Yeah.
Don't be so pretentious. There's good movies on streaming. It's brought to you by Shudder. Promo code AOTKP. Anyways, what else did you watch?
All right, I'll just throw a couple others out there because I didn't really watch anything else new lately.
Other
Mostly-
than that movie 3 times?
Yeah, 3 times. 3 times for the Weird Al story, yeah. I rewatched Derailroaded, which is one of my favorite documentaries. It's the life and music of Wildman Fisher, who is name dropped in the Weird Al movie, by the way. But Wildman Fisher is a manic depressive, paranoid schizophrenic who used to do original song back in the '60s. Used to do original songs in the streets for a dime or a nickel or something like that, and then was discovered by Frank Zappa. Did a double album with Frank Zappa. His relationship with Zappa ended horribly, and then got discovered by Richard Foos, the founder of Rhino Records. Recorded a couple albums with them, and so he's a Daniel Johnson-esque type of
Ooh.
musician, and I've always been a fan of his. So it's a really interesting documentary. It's kind of sad at the same time because he has definitely spiraled down by the time they made the doc, but. And then I was kind of on a continual satire / parody film kick. So I watched a couple Mel Brooks movies. History of the World Part 1, rewatched that for the first time in a while. And Robin Hood Men in Tights, which I don't think I've seen since the theater.
That's really... That one's one of my favorites.
Oh, really? Oh,
Yeah, I like it so much
okay.
better than History. I rewatched History for a podcast like 6 months ago and didn't love it.
Well, here's the problem with watching both those movies back to back and knowing History of the World Part 1 came first. He repeated a lot of jokes. Well, not
Yeah.
just from History of the World Part 1, but from a lot of his movies. Like, most of the comedy in Robin Hood is stolen from his earlier films. Even so much so, in the end of History of the World Part 1, there's that scene for a fake trailer for History of the World Part 2 where it's Jews in Space right there at the very end, and there's a song for Jews in Space that is the fucking song of Robin Hood Men in Tights. It's just different lyrics. It's like the exact same song. So yeah, I felt like maybe Mel got a little lazy when he made Men in Tights, but repeated a lot of some of his early jokes.
Probably more nostalgia. Like, that was one that was on TV all the time, and I watched it. And I didn't know growing up it was like, who Mel Brooks was. It was just a funny, stupid movie.
Yeah.
So I probably just hold that dear to my heart because of the time I saw it and memories.
Yeah, I get that. I'm probably that way with Spaceballs more than for a lot of other people.
I'm
Spaceballs is
a-
one of my favorites. But
Spaceballs
I'm a-
is my favorite Star Wars movie in general, so better than
I'm a
all of
young
them.
I'm a young Frankenstein guy.
Oh, I mean, yeah, it's
my
tops, yeah.
oh, me too.
Yeah.
And when I was a child, I thought for it was part of the Universal Frankenstein movies. That's how great that movie is as far as recapturing the look and the feel of those early Universal films.
I can remember being like 11 years old and seeing that scene with Mel Brooks, Young Frankenstein, and when Gene Hackman is pouring the soup like into his crotch and he's just screaming. I had tears coming down my face. I was laughing so damn hard. I thought it's still my favorite scene.
Anyway, that's what I watched.
All right, Jason, what besides not watching Weird the Al Yankovic story did you watch?
Well, mine goes back to a Halloween weekend. I was able to watch 3 movies. One of them was Barbarian. All 3 of these movies definitely are 4 stars, amazing. It was just a hell of a 3-movie stretch there I did. So Barbarian was awesome. I thought it was amazing and great, and I literally yelled at the TV out loud without spoiling it. And so they set up Justin Long to be an asshole, but when he actually
going, yeah.
pushed her off,
Yeah.
I'm
Oh.
like, are you fucking what? Like, I get so attached to the main characters. I'm like, if she dies, I'm gonna fucking break my TV in half and never watch movies again. And and then he fucking did that, and I'm like, I screamed at my TV. I can't believe they did it.
And right before this son of a bitch does that, he goes into this diatribe about how I got to make things right in my life. I got to do
son
things
of a
right. I got
bitch.
to do things right. And you fucking
I
peckerhead.
just couldn't believe he did that. I mean, anyway, so that was amazing. I finally watched Pearl.
Yes.
That was fucking awesome. I know I told in our Attack of the Killer chat, I know I definitely was like, that fucking 9-minute soliloquy of hers there at the end just fucking ruined me, man. It was unbelievable. Just like one of the most incredible performances I've seen in a long time. It was amazing. I was all in on that. It's great. Definitely check that out. I know you all have talked about it, but I'm not sure we've all talked about this one here yet. I can't remember, but Hellraiser, the new Hellraiser.
Yeah,
It's still on my list. I really need to watch it.
God damn, I fucking
It's-
loved it.
I liked it. I guess I talked about it enough last time, but yeah, I dug it. The one thing I saw online is just like, well, people are kind of up in arms with like Pinhead isn't supposed to be a girl, and it's just like, well,
fuck off.
well, Pinhead is not necessarily supposed to be a man. I
Right.
mean, Barker, he wrote them to be just androgynous. When I see a guy coming up at me with like pins, or a guy or a thing coming at me with pins stuck in its face, and a big large knife and like hooks coming at me.
You're not
I
worried
don't-
about his gender.
Exactly. I'm not worried whether he has a dick or not. I'm worried about keeping my own. But yeah, it's still it's a great addition to the series. It's a lot. I mean, I'll put it right up there with the first. I guess I'll put it up there with the first 3. Wouldn't you say, Jason?
For me, 1 and 2 are sacred, holy, like one of the greatest films of all time. But I also want to say, and don't listen to this part, Tad, because I don't want to build it up too much, but I almost kind of think this movie's better than those movies. Because, like, I think that they wrote this. This one is written so much better than Clive Barker's 1 and 2. They like it really, to me, it like explained shit way better than those original movies, and the way shit unfolded. And I mean, I'm just saying that like it seemed way more cohesive and not just a sexy fever dream when Clive Barker did it, and I love part 1 and 2 even
Yeah.
more. But like to me, I just thought I'm like, God damn, this is cohesive as fuck, and like
Well,
I
yeah,
think
like
it's great.
I mean, I won't spoil it too much, but I mean, let's just say like the lament configuration
Yeah.
kind of gets a little bit of a handbook to it.
It does.
It explains it a lot better.
Yeah, in a good way, and then to top it all off, and what really might be some of the best parts of the originals is like I haven't looked to see if it was literally Christopher Young's score used again, but if not, like it is adapted in a way that just makes you feel like it, because that score in Hellraiser 1 and 2 by Christopher Young is some of the greatest, fucking most chilling and amazing music ever written for film. And like that
Hard to
vibe,
argue.
and even I feel like some's lifted or something, or it's reused or not. I can't tell, but like when you hear that in this, it's like, oh well, fuck yeah, it's on. Like so, I really liked it. I really liked it a lot, and that's what I watched.
I'm glad to hear that you enjoyed it. I think I explained to you guys I tried to watch it on Hulu and Hulu was not
Fucked up on
cooperating,
that.
and
Yeah.
then it was like it's been on the forever must watch list since, and we thought about watching it like last night for my birthday, and that didn't end up happening. Nikki fell asleep, and it's like it's got to happen this weekend. I'm hoping so.
Oh yeah, it had a great resolve to it too. Anyway, yeah, it's great. I hope you can watch it. What'd you watch, Ted?
Well, I watched one movie with you.
Oh, I meant to say that too. Dang it!
Yeah, you can say what you watched.
Oh well, Ninja 3: The Domination.
Yes.
So not a surprise to Andy because I went to him and Brian Clark and asked their opinion on my second movie on what to play. The first, if you guys are not familiar, I know some of you were there. You're all invited every year, but I do a double feature at the Capitol for my birthday. It's a surprise double feature. Usually fun, stupid movies to watch with the crowd. The first one was Ninja 3: The Domination, and then I followed it up with Hard Ticket to Hawaii.
Oh,
Nice.
As you would.
Yeah, my initial thought was that was my first pick, and then I was debating on The Last Dragon as a follow up to Ninja 3, and then my wild
Show
card
love.
was Xanadu, but I didn't know if I wanted to make everyone sit through a roller skate musical, but I think I made the right choice because people were having a blast with Hard Ticket to Hawaii. Just so outrageous and dumb. So those two, that was my movie double feature. But I have watched a lot since we last talked. Just looking through my list here for Halloween, I watched the classic Adventures of Ichabod and Mr. Toad, the old Disney from 1949 animated.
Oh, sweet.
I love that one. I
Yeah.
usually, to be honest, just fast forward to the Ichabod story.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Past Mr. Toad. Sorry, Mr. Toad. But and then another one I watched on Halloween night. Poor Blake asked me if I wanted to watch a movie, and I said, "You can come over. I'm gonna watch a movie, and you can come over and watch it with me." And I watched the Out There Halloween Mega Tape, which is the follow-up to the WNUF Halloween special.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Nice.
And so right now it's only available like mail order directly from the director on DVD. But this is a lot of fun. If you like the first, you're gonna like this, and it is in the same universe. It's still on WNUF, and they acknowledge what happened in the WNUF Halloween special.
Oh, cool.
And they have like some previews for like sort of an unsolved mysteries type show where they're investigating what happened at the special, from those who have seen it, the investigation. But this is really interesting, and I will say this: I think I like the first a little better. It sort of dragged in this one, but the premise is, and they still stick to the commercial, tons of commercials using stock footage. I mean, they do not relent on that, which, love it or hate it, it's accurate. But I think that's what killed it for Blake, was like their commitment to it being accurate to TV specials, so they never skimp on the commercials. But the premise is pretty simple. Like it's basically recorded off TV, and the first part of it is like a Ricky Lake type show from the 80s. Pretty funny. You guys still there?
Yeah.
Okay. I just wanted to make
Heck
sure
yeah.
that I didn't lose you. And it's like a Ricky Lake type show where they talk to this guy who thinks he's actually a vampire, and they bring him on, and then they talk to like these witches and stuff, and it's and this woman who sleeps with ghosts and stuff. It's pretty funny. And then like halfway through, they go back to like WNUF is now investigating this site where UFOs have been spotted, and of course shit goes bad on camera. So very similar to the first in that sense, but it's a lot of fun.
Awesome.
Of course, I watched Weird, the Al Yankovic story. Loved it.
I hear that's good.
I had a very Mike weekend because
lucky.
I watched that on like a Friday, and then the following Sunday, we drove to Moline and saw Dawn of the Dead in 3D in a theater.
Yeah, lucky.
Well, it was originally going to be on Halloween weekend only, and so there was no way I was going to see it. And then they extended it to Tuesday because of the screenings were going so well. And then they decided because that was going so well, they extended an extra 10 days. So it like played in up to like last weekend, and we had a Sunday night free, so we drove and had a nice dinner and went and saw it in a completely empty theater all by ourselves. Huge screen.
Oh, wow.
The real 3D. Nikki's never seen it, so her first time seeing it was in a theater in 3D, which was cool.
Nice.
I mean, just seeing it in the theater, I sort of almost wish it wasn't in 3D. Not that it took away from anything, but it definitely didn't add anything.
Sure.
It just felt sort of like a bit of a gimmick, which it is in general. But that movie is not that visually like stunning. You know what I mean? Like it's not. It's cool to see some of the splatter effects, like when a head explodes in 3D. It's sort of cool, but it's a very sort of washed out, sort of, neutral colors type of movie outside of the crayon red blood. And it just didn't add anything to it, but seeing it restored in 4K and hearing the Goblin score in a theater on that big screen and seeing it like, by yourself in the empty theater, really cool. Yeah, exactly. And then I checked out on Shudder an original called Deadstream. Has anyone seen this yet?
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was fun. It was pretty fun. That guy's hilarious. And
Yeah, I checked it out based on the recommendations of a few people I trust. I didn't love it. I liked it, but it got a little annoying. That guy, that was. But I think that's the point.
it's hard for when you got following one guy through a whole movie, and he screams at literally everything. His own shadow he screams at. So
Yeah, so this is like a modern Blair Witch, I would say. Like, the premise is this YouTuber, this social media influencer, this totally obnoxious idiot on YouTube gets like canceled for saying something insensitive, and then he's doing his big comeback, and he's going to do a live stream in like a notoriously haunted house, and obviously he's going in thinking it's completely fake, and when he gets in there, shit goes wrong, and then a fan shows up, and I won't spoil anything, but it's shot all like on little webcams and from the perspective of him, first person perspective, and it's found footage, but it's done a little bit different, and I liked a lot of parts of it, but I found the lead actor slightly obnoxious, and I think he's supposed to be obnoxious, but sitting with him an hour and a half with just him wearing thin on me, where I just wanted him to fucking die.
yeah, I get that. Like the screaming got to be too much, where he literally would scream at everything. But he still had some really funny parts though, and one of the things I appreciate the movie the most, being a found footage fan, and kind of seeing this premise like 100 times. Although this one kind of feels more like almost like a parody of that. But that's the theme for this episode, kids. Parodies. But beyond that, it's got, unlike a lot of, trapped in a haunted house found footage movies, it's got some really cool looking like creature designs in it.
Yeah,
like a lot of the ghosty creatures in it. It was really cool. Some of that stuff was really cool looking.
It definitely had its perks, and I'm not like mad I watched. I didn't hate it by any means. I just I don't know. I'm so peculiar about my time right now. Just I feel like I never just get to sit down and like watch something for myself. It has to be for content or for a podcast or for some other thing. And it's like I'm just taking the night off. I'm going to watch something new, and I watched it. And I was like, I mean, I don't know. I didn't love it. I didn't hate it. I liked it, I guess I would say. So take that as whatever you will as a recommendation or not. But I like I said, it's maybe in as like we talked about earlier. The person who I listened to their podcast hyped it up as being a whole lot of fun and really cool and inventive. And I'm like, I've sort of seen this before, but and I think it's just the lead actor. Maybe he reminded me of somebody I don't like. I think like a person I know in real life. But yeah, but yeah, Deadstream. It's on Shudder. It's not. If you like found footage, you'll probably enjoy it, and it's really short, so it has some good jump scares too.
Mm-hmm.
And I think double checking my outside of I watched Stand By Me, which is one of my favorites of all time. Just laying in bed, it was on Sundance. I love that movie. As soon as I turned it on TV, I couldn't turn away, so I wasted 2 hours in bed. But outside of that, that's what I watched.
All right. Awesome. Thank you, Tad. And now it's time to get your tweets on. Here's Jason with Pole Position.
From now on, like your parents were, you are the secret force of pole position.
All right, I'm pretty excited for this episode's Pole Position. Let's get right into it. The question. What are, and here's the thing, I know it's going to be hard to narrow this down because these lists are going to be so long, but the question is, what's the worst qualities of the VHS format?
Come on.
There are so many. Let's just get it narrowed down, huh? What do you say?
There is more pros than cons, my friend.
All right. Well, let's go to the random sequence generator. We're going to do snake draft like a normal 2 rounds. So Mike will be 1, I'm 2, Tad's 3, Andy's 4. Here we go. Beep, boop, boop, beep, boop, boop, boop. Oh, let's see here. That's Tad's first. Great. Oh, then Andy. Then Mike, then me. Great. Awesome. All right, Tad, you're up first. What is the worst quality of the VHS format to you?
Man, that's, I would say, the just limitations of the actual video quality. You can only get up to 480p.
480, yep.
Yeah, so the resolution, I guess I would say, for VHS tapes to me is, and I know Mike's gonna rebuttal and say, but when you're watching a movie that was shot beautifully on film with great cinematography, and you put in a VHS tape, it's just, no matter how nice your TV is and how nice your VCR is, it's never going to get better than
ruining the vision of the directors.
No.
Right. Yep. So
here's my rebuttal.
All right, Andy, you're up next. Your first pick, second pick.
As a guy who's gotten rid of like a bunch of these before, and I loved them, but it's just like I wasn't watching them, and I had them on other formats anyway. I gotta say, storage space.
Good answer.
Big time.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes I thought I would open a door and just an avalanche of shit would just just fall on top of me because, yes, the storage space is a big
They're
issue.
bulky.
That
They're
was probably top of my list too, as far as, because I, collect movies and I had just a ginormous VHS collection and twice as many DVDs and Blu-rays that take up half the space of what those.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
All right, and St. Mike, you're up first. Up next.
Okay, so this was hard because there's so many great qualities about VHS. But I'm going to go with the fact that these things have an expiration date, that they degenerate over time.
Degrades over time.
Degrades over
Yep,
time.
that's on my list.
Yep, mine too.
Over time. Yep. God, this pen sucks. Okay. Yes, that is an awful quality.
Yeah.
And that's the thing you love about these digital discs and things. All right, so I'm up next. Oh,
From
well,
the man who does no longer collects physical media.
that's pretty
Yeah.
right.
What?
I'm going to sorry, Andy.
Yeah, he gave
You
his.
you don't own anything digital, for real.
Wait, what?
He's right.
You can.
It can live on your hard drive.
Yep. Anyways, you don't own
Yeah.
anything on the cloud, but anyways, go ahead.
So this is perfect. So the thing that sucks, one of the biggest and worst features of VHS
Stop looking at me.
is that fucking eat the tape. The tape can get eaten.
I have that on my list as much as like, you know, the durability of a VCR. I'll even say the durability of a VHS tape. It is the only format that the player can destroy the product.
Yes, and why? That's right. You don't even know the answer.
Yeah, it happens randomly.
It just does.
Yeah.
I will say this. One time my sister got my Joe Dirt DVD stuck in her DVD player, and she thought, like, she was so, I mean, I used to, maybe still am, my sister lived her life absolutely terrified of me. I think she might still be absolutely terrified of me. Don't know why.
I wouldn't
But
know.
she was so afraid to tell me that, like, she like destroyed her own DVD player to get the disc out, and I was like, it's fucking Joe Dirt. Like, it's like a $3 DVD, you know.
Yeah.
But I mean, even Blu-rays, 4Ks, it doesn't matter. They can all scratch really easy, much easier. I mean, you can drop a VHS tape and be fine. So I don't know.
Yep, that was my pro. I was waiting for somebody to say, you
A
know,
little durable.
that they are way more durable. Blu-ray, I'll give you, but DVD or
DVD,
CDs, man, you know, VHS. That is very true. I don't know how many times I've dropped a VHS tape, popped it in, and it worked just fine. But like, even taking a DVD out of the case, sometimes you run the risk of like scratching the shit out of it or breaking the center ring or whatever.
Oh, have you ever gotten one that had like came out of the
Fuck yes.
the ring in the mail and it's scratched to shit and it's brand new? It's not even open. Like,
Yeah.
fuck off.
Oh yeah.
Uh-huh.
Another thing with VHS tapes, like, say if you like drop one and break one, you can get another piece of shitty like VHS that you don't like, and you could, you know, take parts off of that and make your, you know, and essentially repair.
Yeah.
Your Franken tape.
Yeah, you can still
exactly.
save the movie versus, you know, something
Oh
happens
my
to a
God.
disc, it's done.
Anyway, guys, I just realized that I won the draft because my next pick is clearly the 101 of all.
Okay.
Of all things, I'm so excited. I can't believe this one fell to me. The worst quality of the VHS format, rewinding.
Yeah, that's.
I
on
don't
my
know
list,
if I
too.
agree with that.
Yeah, how can you?
I think the people will.
How can you disagree with rewinding?
How can that be an
I just have
enjoyable experience?
I have too much time.
Dude,
That's it.
dude, we should do like the old the poem, the old John Henry poem where man
Please,
versus the train where I wish I would have thought of this ahead of time. I would have written a poem where putting in a Blu-ray and waiting it for the fucking load versus rewinding a VHS tape. I challenge you that it's probably quicker to rewind that VHS tape.
Bullshit. Tell me
Don't
what. Tell me.
bullshit me. It's
Tell
true.
me. Tell me.
Blu-rays take for freaking ever to load.
Tell me that every single time you rewind a tape, you don't go, that fucker's going to break when it gets to the end. You don't think that. Tell me you don't think that. That's right.
And
And,
also-
it does. And it does.
That wasn't your thing though. Your thing.
I
was
have
just
rewound a tape off the
the
goddamn
length of
spool
rewinding
before,
it.
though.
Yeah, and
That
then you could
pissed
just
me
pop
off.
it open and just fix it, and you're good to go.
Good to go. Anyway,
Yeah,
all right.
while my Blu-ray loads.
Exactly. I'm sorry, Blu-ray. That was like the big step back.
That was a pun on you, dude. I'm not gonna.
It's no,
Never
but
mind.
it's true. Come on, Blu-ray.
You're up
take
next,
for
Mike.
freaking
Pick
ever.
6.
Okay, pick 6. Well, shit.
Do we take them all?
Pretty much. Damn it, yeah. I will say one thing before I give you my last answer. I did have this down as far as
Final
fast
answer?
forwarding and rewinding goes, versus chapter skipping. That is a that is definitely an argument for
Unskippableness.
of fast forwarding and rewinding
Oh.
being too long, as far as like if you want to skip a chapter or because you could say like.
I want to watch that
Take
scene.
take a movie out. You were watching a movie and didn't finish it. You want to come back and watch it later, so you could just skip to the chapter. Or a lot of players will just pick up where the disc left off the last
Yeah,
time.
or resume.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where a VHS would obviously do that as well. But again, if you wanted to go to a specific part of the tape, it would take longer than skipping a chapter on a disc. But that's not my answer because you already.
There's some great ones left, Mike.
I would just have to say overall space on the tape, on the material
Limitations,
itself, versus DVD or Blu-ray. When DVD came out, it was so exciting because you get all these bonus features and you get the trailer and all this, that, and the other thing. You could fit so much more content on the disc versus an analog tape.
All right, Andy, pick 7.
Oh man. You guys kind of said a lot. I was gonna say, you got. I mean, with DVD, you don't have tracking issues.
Yep.
Yeah.
I don't think that there's like a very good. Well, when it first came out on VHS, I don't think that there was a very good Fast Times at Ridgemount High tape out there when Phoebe Cates comes out of the pool because everybody had it paused on that part. So like the tracking's all
Oh yeah, the tape would wear out.
wonky.
And then with your DVD, you could watch it frame by frame.
Exactly.
So tracking is your official answer.
Yeah, tracking.
That's a
let's
good
do
one.
that.
It's on my list. All right, Tad, finish it off. Pick 8.
I have a couple options. I'm trying to decide what would be good for. I'm gonna go with this one because it relates to my first one about the bad video quality. Also, limitations on audio. You can't get a full 7.1 surround sound track on it. The best you could do with a 4-head VCR was limited surround sound. You just can't get lossless.
Forehead.
Yeah, you can't get lossless audio. You can't get the Dolby Atmos. It's just it really and some people might argue taking like Carpenter's original mono score and putting it in 5.1 or 7.2 or whatever is like sacrilege. I mean, it's an argument that goes back to Beatles and Beach Boys.
Yep.
Putting those original mono albums in stereo was at the time controversial, as they weren't recorded that way. But limitations. I mean, just sort of like Mike was saying with length of limitations, it also is the same with sound. You can only get so good of sound out of a VHS tape, and it also degrades over time. So.
Yep, you got your white and red audio RCA outs.
Yep.
All right, that's it. We did it, guys. I have one more, one really bad one. I can't believe made it through the draft.
Mm-hmm.
You can tape over a VHS.
That's a pro.
Yeah.
No, you buy a movie and some a-hole tapes over it.
That's a pro. You can reuse them. Yeah.
Oh,
But that's the thing. If you're that worried about somebody taping over your movie, make sure that little tab is busted off.
right. But you can
'cause then
just
can't.
put tape over it and tape over. I'm just saying.
Oh, then somebody's doing it to you on
Yeah,
purpose, and if
I
they're
know.
doing that to you on purpose,
You can
they're going to
lose your
smash
mo-
your DVD.
It's
so
not
it
the
doesn't
that's
matter.
not the that's not the format's fault.
Yeah.
My other thing was a little bit, and it's not quite limited to VHS because it was also on the early days of DVD. Is the framing like almost all VHSs were full frame?
Oh yeah.
4:3. Yep, I had that on my list.
Yeah, but I mean that also. I remember when DVDs first came out, you had to be careful whether you bought a widescreen or a full screen.
And now square tube TVs don't even exist, so it's not even an issue.
Of course, another thing, if your speakers, if your speakers were exposed, I mean, you can't really keep VHS near anything magnetized,
Yeah.
Yep.
because it erase everything on the damn tape.
That was on my list, and then the last thing on my list is a word to just a VHS language that I think you invented, that has been in my life my entire life. Rainbows.
Oh yeah, the rainbows.
You don't get rainbows anywhere else in the world like you do.
I-
Can you explain that to the listeners?
It's mostly okay. Well, it's mostly when you're like recording stuff, or when you make your early films in your filmmaking career, and you're editing VCR to VCR. Because I think the effect happens when there's something already on that tape, and you record like over top of it, like trying to splice it together, analog wise, and so you're getting kind of sort of a little bit of bleed of that previous image, which would cause colored
horizontal
lines
line
that go up and down the screen for a few seconds.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or when the tape starts to wear out, you kind of get that too sometimes. It's kind of in the same principle of when the tracking goes out, but it's prettier because it looks like a rainbow.
Yeah, you'll see it added in all these movies we're talking about today. Anyway,
There's
Most
still
of
some
which are on purpose.
killer titles on VHS that haven't made the jump to DVD yet, though. In Mike's
Yeah.
defense,
Yeah.
we'll do out of print stuff next time.
I say I just bought a fat stack of VHS tapes from the resale shop, and I'm so excited I got the making of Thriller in like a mint VHS.
shit.
Oh, nice.
I'm so stoked to pop that bad boy in. That terrified me to bits as a kid.
Oh yeah, that's so good.
See, I remember. Yeah, I remember specifically. I watched that a lot, but again, I was terrified as a kid of it as well. But I was a really big Michael Jackson fan as a kid. I loved that album, and so I tried to suffer through the scary parts. But I remember a quote specifically from that on how the reason why he hired John Landis to do the video is because he thought American Werewolf in London was hilarious, and that really painted a different light of Michael Jackson for me. And I'm like, oh, this guy's a badass. He thinks American Werewolf in London's super scary movie's funny. It is funny.
Well, all right, everybody, get your butts over to Twitter at AOTKP
And vote for me.
and vote for who you think picked the best, worst qualities of VHS.
Don't vote for me on this one.
Oh, okay. Reverse psychology.
Mike's
No,
got
it's
it.
not.
Hipster.
He's got it.
VHS hipster.
No,
He's got it. He's got the win now.
You can't be a hipster when you've always liked the format.
All right, let's talk about some movies.
All right, let's do that. So yeah, we're talking about VHS movies.
What a
look at
coinky
that.
dink.
Weird. Tad, what's our first film?
Our first film is from this year. It is VHS 99.
Fresh souls taste the best.
Oh my God!
And welcome back! This is a very special episode.
Spend the night in a coffin.
Lily! Lily!
The faster you breathe, the faster you use up your air, so you can't panic.
We have ourselves a winner!
Play or die! Play or
No. No.
Okay, VHS 99 is. I'm not even going to read off of any websites like I normally do. If you have not seen any of the VHS movies, they're pretty simple found footage movies that are supposed to sort of be like you find a VHS tape and you're watching almost like a snuff film. And this is, I believe, the fifth one, if that's correct.
Yes, fifth.
Yeah. And so that the trailer Jason just played is the first trailer I've heard from this. I enjoyed VHS 94, which just came out last year, a Shudder original, as well as VHS 99, a Shudder original. I enjoyed 94 so much that I was like, I'm in for any future installments. I don't need to see a single still trailer. The more blind I go into it, the better. But these have individual segments with a wraparound, just like many anthology films, but these are done a little bit different. Like I said, they're all found footage. We have segments. Shredding is the first one. It's about a rock band named Rack, who likes pulling pranks. They're filming this short little prank they're doing, and shit goes bad. Their suicide bid, which might have been my favorite one, about a group of sorority girls who are hazing a girl and bury her alive, and obviously that shit goes bad. Ozzy's Dungeon, about a 90s video game or a 90s children's game show where a kid gets hurt and the family takes revenge on the host. We have the Gawkers, which I really like too, about a group of teenage boys who were spying on the hot neighbor who makes stop motion videos about toy soldiers. And then we have To Hell and Back, which is probably my least favorite, where these on New Year's Eve '99, these videographers are hired by what is revealed to be a coven of witches to film them performing a ritual, and that's all of our segments. I liked this one. I liked the movie, just like all of the VHS films. They have their highs and their lows, but for the most part, I think I liked all the segments outside of To Hell and Back. I thought maybe suicide bid was the scariest to me, like the most intense, because I'm very claustrophobic.
That'll do it. Yeah.
And holy shit, very. I mean, it's not the first movie to do Buried Alive, but the first one to have a fucking terrifying creature in it. Jesus Christ. And then I thought Shredding had some really scary moments in it. The way it was filmed was really cool. Ozzy's Dungeon was more funny to me than anything. And the Gawkers was probably, the most relatable, because it's like I was a kid in '99 like they were, and I'm like, I could picture my friends doing this shit. And then The Hell and Back just seemed so far-fetched that I didn't really connect to it. It sort of fizzled out at the end because of that one for me. But what did you guys think?
Well, Tad, I had a question for you real quick. So you mentioned that you really liked 94, but how do you feel about the rest of the franchise, the first three?
I have never seen the third one because I've only heard bad things, and people tell me, like, don't watch it. I mean, I also like to form my own opinion, but I've never heard one good thing about 3. I love
viral,
1 and 2.
right?
Yeah.
Viral, yeah.
I absolutely
1 and 2 are great.
Yeah, I love 1 and 2. 2, I mean, just fantastic movies. When they said the franchise was back and they had brought back some original people and all the people on board for 94, I loved that one. I did a whole podcast on it last year. So I'm excited, because what's nice about this format is, like, even if 1 or 2 of the segments are duds, we still got, 2 or 3 that are going to be awesome almost in all of them. So, right on. It's I love the short story format. It's my ADD brain. It's just like ADHD brain it's perfect for that.
Cool.
I wasn't really thrilled with the last segment. It came off as, a little too hokey. Ozzy's Dungeon kind of really stands out to me because it just seems like if, like, I mean, I thought Tad would be all over it because it would be like the whole Nickelodeon sort of vibe.
Double Dare, yeah.
It's like I was gonna say it's
Right?
like Legends of the Hidden Temple crossed with Double Dare, only if like Mark Summers was like a sociopath. But well, he might be.
Time will tell.
But yeah, just that's really gnarly. And the Buried Alive one that was great. I mean, it kind of seemed predictable. You knew she was gonna die, but I mean, just like the sort of the villain gets their come up and sort of Tales from the Crypt kind of vibe is what I got from that story. And then I mean, I wasn't. I mean, it's okay. I mean, I'd probably say, it's better than the where they the one where they go to hell. What was that one called? The
To hell and back.
To Hell and Back. I wasn't really crazy about the band one. All of them just seemed really annoying, and maybe that's the reason why they wrote them that way, because you could see them get killed. But yeah, yeah. I mean, it's okay, but I don't hate it, but I'm definitely a bigger fan of VHS '94.
Yeah, I think I'm somewhere definitely in the tad. So I liked most of it. I liked the first one, the rock and roll band, because it's a rock and roll
I
band.
figured you
So-
Of
would.
course
Yeah.
you would. Of
And
course.
to me, like that one was like visceral. Like,
Yeah.
it was obnoxious. But when shit hit the fan and that dude lifts up in the fucking air,
Bodies are like
Yeah. That was
floating
good.
on the ground.
yeah.
Fuck. Yes.
The panic of it, like that's what I love with found footage is like not seeing what's happening. You can use that as a tool. Like you're doing this with minimal effort, and you can hide what would normally sort of. You don't need to reveal the creature. I almost don't want to see it. Like it's
Yep.
cooler what I'm not seeing because I'm putting
Yeah.
that in my head. I'm filling in the gaps with my mind.
Well, I get that. That's
Yeah.
fine
That's
and all,
that's
but
all Hitchcock shit, right?
But my problem with shredding is that they gave us some cool visuals and then wouldn't show it. Like I got so annoyed with, the purposeful bad, cutting in and out, tracking and cutting in and out of what was already on the VHS tape, all that stuff. When the shit was hitting the fan, when we saw this cool undead band, they looked awesome, and I wanted to see it much clearer. Like, if you're not going to show me, don't show me at all. You're going to tease me with something cool, I'm going to want to fucking see more of it. And the whole final thing where the band that they slaughter comes back and is playing, like almost like chopped up marionettes, was freaking cool too, and I wanted to see more of that. So I like shredding, but I was a little disappointed I like shredding because of the cool visuals, but at the same time was disappointed that they were trying so hard to keep us from seeing the cool visuals with the
Editing tricks.
yeah. Anyway, Jason, you were
And I also agree that I think that Suicide Bid was my favorite too. It seemed the most, realistic, the most like real thing. And,
Plausible.
yeah, I mean, it's full of pretty girls. That helps, but like, and then I got mad at that short for a minute too, because aren't you just like this? You're just cheating to do the buried alive thing. It's like a cheap way to make us feel something, like it just seems too easy. Like, put you in the box, claustrophobia. It's easy to just get all the emotions. But even in spite of that, though, even though like I got mad at them for just cheating and doing that simple thing, there's still like moments where she's in the box and you're like, well, fuck, this is pretty fucking scary.
I thought it was
There is a reason this shit is scary when you're.
But I thought it was a cool ramp up of like, I get what you're saying of hey, this is an old trope. It's easy to do, trapped in a box, confined. But then I thought they kicked it up a notch by kind of felt like they put a quicker stopwatch on it when it
Starts
was raining
raining.
and
The cops show up,
floods, and when it floods the freaking coffin,
Fuck yeah, dude.
that's
Well,
when
first
it
of
got
all,
really,
you're underground. I wouldn't want to be like in a Rubbermaid tote or whatever above ground when it's raining. When I know it's not, when I know it can't leak, I'd be just like, I don't know,
But
fuck
yeah,
that,
it still
let alone
had
being underground.
it still had to go through the process of all of it, from the moment of like, she's got to get in that box. Oh no, you're like, well, is it a prank? Is she gonna die? Like, fuck. Then you start feeling for her. You're like, don't actually get in that fucking box, you crazy lady.
dumb.
And then she gets in. You're like, okay, and then like, okay, they show them outside the box fucking with her, or they let you think shit's gone bad, but then they're just poking her with sticks. And you're like, okay, all right.
Yeah.
So they do a good of like letting you start to feel it, but then bring you back up and out of it. Like, oh, it's okay. And then yeah, man. And then once the water starts coming into the casket, you're like, well, shit's fucked now.
Yep.
So it was pretty good.
And screw those bitches. They just left her there
And
overnight. I mean, I
screw
get it.
those
You run and
bitches.
hide from the cops, but
You
That's
come
the
right
cops
back.
are not going to be there all night. Go back and get the
No.
girl out of the goddamn coffin.
That's your sisterhood for you. Give me a fucking break.
And yeah, the rest were all okay too. But yeah, that one I did like the best.
That
It
was your
felt
favorite?
yeah, for sure.
Okay. Well, for me, I don't know what my favorite one was, but I really, really like this as well. I feel like I kind of want to go back and watch Viral because my problem with Viral is that I felt like at the time it felt like it strayed from the original formula of the first two films. But now with like 94 and this one especially 99s, I feel like it's really strayed from that original formula. So it doesn't matter anymore. So I kind of want to rewatch Viral without holding on to, the creepy wraparound that the first two had. The wraparound in this was funny, and I feel like this whole
Hilarious.
thing,
Yeah.
I feel like this whole thing is like the scary movie equivalent to Scream, where this is like the comical VHS movie, which makes me appreciate it even more. Because I mean, Ozzy's Dungeon is like I felt like that was something you would see on Adult Swim. It was like weird and bizarre, not in reality at all, but was a great satire of those '90s kids game shows.
I think it maybe and maybe it hurt my watching of it because I watched that Way Out There Halloween mega tape. And it's very similar to that, where it's like we see the game show as an audience member. It's not like we're watching the actual show, watching what happens, and it seemed like not set, like you said, not set in reality. Where this franchise, I like when it is set in reality as much as a rock band coming back from the dead can be, but I don't know. It almost seemed comical, like a parody of over the top goofy at times, which I don't know. It balances out.
But I
Depends
feel
on
like
what
this
you're in
whole
the mood for, I suppose.
I feel like this whole installment is that though. The whole movie in this whole franchise is the parody version. Because To Hell and Back is all comical too. Those guys are like freaking, Bob and Doug McKenzie or Jane Silent Bob trapped in hell kind of thing. I mean, they're two goofy guys, and I'm sorry. I apparently there's something wrong with me, but I liked that one a lot. I really liked To Hell and Back. I thought it was cool seeing this version of hell, and all the creatures in it were really neat looking, and that demon girl, whoever she was, I was really digging her, and I laughed out loud a few times at those two dumbasses. When the one guy's like, the guy holding the camera is like, starts going off about his friend's opinion, and the guy's like, "This is not the time for this. We're in hell, for crying out loud." And then the ending of it too, I thought was great. I mean, I love the idea of, they're gonna crash this exorcism so they can get back to Earth. I thought was pretty genius. I thought it was really neat. But it's goofy, and if you're not ready for that, I guess maybe that's why it's off-putting. But the visuals of hell, I thought were really great. Probably my least favorite of the whole thing was Gawkers, because kind of other than the fact that it's a Medusa, and you don't get Medusas, you don't get a Gorgon ever in horror. So I really appreciated that we had a Medusa in this. But other than that, it was that one really felt like cookie cutter paint by numbers. Like we've seen this in all five VHS movies, this exact same storyline. Creepy guys being in, this is like straight the first VHS movie. First story is the exact same thing. Creepy guys creeping on some girl, and the girl turns out to be a monster that kills them.
Well, I mean, they do the same thing in Rear Window back in the 50s? Disturbia.
Yeah. It's an old plot, and other than the fact that it was a Medusa, it didn't really offer anything new. But again, Medusas. So yeah, I really liked it, but I think going in, if you're going to go into this, be prepared for it to be more of a comedy, I think. Am I off base thinking that this is
No,
more of a comedy?
I don't
There's a
think
lot
so.
more laughs than 94.
Okay, yeah. But I was laughing my butt off at the wraparound too, with the plastic
Army men?
soldiers
Yeah,
and everything.
Hell yeah.
No.
And his commentary with it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I know I talked about it a little bit on the bonus episode, but I feel like now's my chance if I'm going to talk about it. But, a couple bonus episodes ago, we talked about what takes you out of a film. Well, this movie suffers from one of the things that's really grown on me is, I hate to use the word hate, but I will not watch another one of these on my own unless you make me. But when this movie suffers from it, to me, I watch this movie and it just looks like an editing exercise to me. All I can see, you complained about it with the band one.
Yeah.
You're just fucking editing. It's all you're doing. You're just editing the shit out of this. You're putting shit everywhere. You're just fucking practicing your editing techniques and goofy. It's all filters and fucking. It's all I can see. It's all I can. It's not being used to tell the story. You're just being an asshole editor trying to cream yourself all over the. I get really taken out of it.
No, I agree.
This one's bad.
I agree with you on this one, especially with shredding. It annoyed the shit out of me too. But it's the franchise. It's VHS.
Yep.
This is,
I know.
you do expect it from it, but it does feel way overdone in this one to me more than the other ones. And I don't know, I mean, maybe I need to go back and rewatch some of the other ones, but like the first VHS to me, I felt like did it 1,000% right. As far as that look and feel and it being part of the story instead of, like you said, just being an exercise in editing. But yeah, this one, and even I think all of them kind of suffered from that. Maybe not so much Suicide Bid. That one felt like it wasn't overly
edited
and whatnot, but
yeah.
the rest of them for sure. I mean, as much as I enjoyed more than everyone else To Hell and Back, that had a lot of it too that was starting to take me out of it.
I'm just trying to say I'm sensitive to the editing assholeness. I don't know. It just gets to me. It takes me out, and that's too bad. I just, I think that this movie is perfectly great, and I'd recommend it, of course, if you like an anthology. This is a great anthology.
And we're already ready for a new one next year, VHS 85.
Ooh.
Oh, nice, cool.
Now I'm digging the year there, man.
Oh, AOTKP is the code if you want to get your month of Shudder. But I'm just saying, just Shudder's great because it brought back this franchise, and now it's doing one a year now. That's awesome.
Yeah, and they've already
James Bond, man.
announced the directors and everything.
That's cool. Great. Good deal. So, Tad, what trivia do you have for this one?
Not a whole lot. They originally, this was they thought this was going to be VHS 85. They sort of teased that, and then it ended up being pushed to being the next one. There's also, they pitched to Shudder, I think it was like VHS Christmas, and they were going to be like Christmas home videos.
Oh, cool.
And
wow.
And VHS Medieval, which doesn't make any sense to me because they did not have cameras.
What the fuck?
But obviously, Shudder said no thanks for those.
I want the Christmas one.
Yeah,
the
but
Christmas one would be great.
This was rushed into production after the huge success of VHS 94. I think they anticipated it to be, well liked in the horror community, but it was like AMC Plus's #1 watched movie out of everything. The To Hell and Back segment not only features the writer and actors from Deadstream, but the golem-like creature from the woods can briefly be seen as characters run through the hellscape. So there's a little crossover between a movie I mentioned in the What We Watched. Sort of cool.
That's awesome. Dang it, I wish I would have picked up on
And then another little nod to Deadstream. In the audience of Ozzy's dungeon, a member of the audience is holding up a sign that shows the Hansa from the filmmaker's other film, Deadstream.
Nice.
And then the first segment features clips of CKY, Ryan, mainly showing Ryan Dunn. This segment is believed to be in Pennsylvania, as those videos were not widely distributed. So just some little clips that they use. Again, Jason loves the editing. Edited some clips into there from the old CKY, which is like a precursor to Jackass.
I'm just saying, the most played fucking VHS tape you ever had doesn't fucking glitch as much as the shit in this.
No.
All right, I'm sorry.
Right, but
you're
I think the
not wrong,
idea,
but-
I think the argument is that these are like snuff films being passed around,
I know.
And that's fine and everything.
and copies of copies of copies.
Here's the thing: is it this for you, Jason? Because this just kind of dawned on me. Is it the overuse of that as a crutch, or is it that? Because again, I go back to shredding. There's like moments when it gets intense, and then it cuts away to what was previously on that tape, which takes you out of the tension of that scene.
But that's done on purpose. You don't want to, to
Why? Why would that be done on purpose? Why are you arguing for it?
less is more.
No. You don't create a mood
When you have no money, you
and then
can't
pull the
show
rug out
it.
from underneath.
When you have no money, you can't show it.
They
So you tease
obviously-
it and get out.
I'm not even talking about the cool looking band and stuff I was complaining about before. I'm talking about just like when things get intense and it's scary and whatnot, and then all of a sudden the tape cuts away to something else.
It's ironic.
and it cuts back.
okay?
That it
It's hipster.
it ruins the pacing of the scene.
It does.
Okay, why are you arguing for it now? What the fuck?
I was just arguing against you. That's all I ever seem to do.
all
so.
you have-
That's what the point. That's welcome to Attack of the Killer podcast.
This must be my first day because I didn't.
If it's not Ted and me, it's
Yeah.
Jason and Mike.
Exactly.
That goes well beyond Attack of the Killer podcast. All right, fine, Jason. What's our next movie?
All right, the next movie I'm so excited about. It just came out of nowhere. I love it so much. It's from 2020. That's a year. The year 2020. This movie's called Rent a Pal.
Hi, I'm Carla. Hi, my name is Mary. Hi, I'm Susan.
Hi, I'm David. I'm 40 years young, and I live with my mother. I'm looking for a deep connection, someone I can give myself to, completely.
Hi, I'm Andy. Thanks for being here today. I have been waiting for this moment for what feels like forever. True friendship. We're gonna get to know each other, talk about whatever you want, but more than anything, we're gonna have some fun. Too bad. And hopefully, it's the start of a beautiful relationship. What do you say?
Sounds weird, Andy.
Hi, I'm Lisa. You want to hang out tomorrow night?
I'd love to.
Maybe someone will come around that can help you out a little.
I thought we could tell each other everything.
You just need to open yourself up to it.
I thought we were best friends. Nothing like a little friendly competition, right, pal? That's what friends are for. You're just drunk with infatuation for some cute girl. To be there for each other. We don't need her. We have each other. When all the chips are down.
You've taken everything from me. Andy, I need backup.
That's why I'm here for you, pal.
A strange VHS tape allows a lonely bachelor named David to find companionship with Andy, its charming and charismatic host. However, Andy's friendship comes at a cost, and David desperately struggles to afford the price of admission. Like I said before, when this movie came out, I felt like it just came out of nowhere, just appeared, just this cheap little movie. And it was interesting because it stars Will Wheaton,
Yeah.
not the main character, but the other main character, and it was just like a horror movie with Will Wheaton. Yes, please. What does that mean? And I don't know. Felt like it got people talking, and I know when I watched it, it was great. I'm not trying to say that I can relate to this main character as a lonely fella, but I sure did, and I really loved the color palette of the film. You know, it was really colored well, and the score and everything's great, and the story. Man, just the way it unfolds. The concept of this rent-a-pal thing is so stupid and awesome. I love it, and just for it to unfold, and it's just a great little thing. What you guys think?
I love this. I love this movie. This was definitely in my top 10, maybe top 5 if I remember right for
Same.
2020. You know, watching it again, it's like it's definitely not a film I feel like that you watch over and over again, because it is a bit of a Debbie Downer.
Yep.
But Wheaton is so good in it, and you know, there in the 80s there were tapes like this, 80s and 90s. There was all kinds of tape. There was tapes made for everything, you know. So it is not far fetched that a tape like this would exist, and I love how they reuse that footage of the tape with Andy over and over throughout the movie, and it means different things.
It does.
Yeah.
The context changes it, and how how the same inflection in the beginning becomes creepy as fuck at the end, and it's so fucking cool that they pulled that off.
Yeah, and then there's some moments where it gets kind of like crossing that line of like, was that on the tape, or is that or is this all
was that real?
in the guy's mind now? You know,
fuck yeah.
Yeah, just love this movie. All the performances are great, and you know, it's definitely a great homage to that VHS era of anything and everything being put on a tape, but it gets really dark and creepy, and but yeah, and I don't think it would be nearly as good if it wasn't for Will Wheaton's over the top cheese performance on the tape. It's like perfect. So I love it.
Here's the deal, guys. I don't like this movie.
Oh.
And I'll tell you why. It's because I
you
fucking love it.
I knew it.
Okay.
Sure.
Why you?
Here we go. And
Oh,
it's
you
not
silly Willie.
Keep my eye on you.
Little scallywag. No. Here we go. Just the storytelling and the simplicity of it. First of all, I'll say this right now. I think Andy is just like a spark of the is like all like an infection of his subconscious mind. I mean, he's got this devastating sense of loneliness. He also has like this deep sense of loss of his father, and he's got this big sense of resentment towards his mother. You know, so I mean, basically, I'm looking at this guy, David, right? Is his name?
Yep.
Okay. I'm looking at David as like he's like the Norman Bates of like the Reagan administration, you know, during this time, and I got that feeling, I got that vibe off of him because he has like this, like I said, he's got an overbearing, you know, mother, even though he's trying to, you know, take care of her, and he's got all this, you know, he's isolated all the time, and he just really wants, you know, a companion. And when he meets this girl, you know, you are just really, I mean, you know how this thing ends, and it doesn't end well, right? But just when they're on that date, and he finally, you finally think he's got like this, and you know, this sense of happiness going for him, and you know, you're just rooting for this guy, and you know, I mean, his and you know it's gonna go bad, but there's that little moment where you think it's just gonna turn out well, and just it's not gonna turn out the way he wants it, and 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 him getting shit faced doesn't all the time doesn't help. But yeah, like I said, like you guys said, Will Wheaton, tremendous in this. But yeah, I think all those things, like Mike mentioned earlier, when the tape goes a little off track, Will Wheaton getting angry and telling this, it's all in his mind. It's all in his mind because I think he's actually truthfully terrified of having any real relationships at this point. And yeah, what a great story, and just what a terrible way, to go out. Just there's something uneasy about seeing all that lasagna on the floor. That's just but yeah, first time watch for me. Wish I would have watched it sooner. Yeah, can't say enough good things about this one. I mean, and Mike said it. Mike said it right too. It's not something you want to pop in every weekend or go to sleep to or anything. But yeah, Rent-A-Pow. It's a damn good movie. It's really really good.
I can't remember if this made my top 10 or not. I don't think it quite made my top 10 of that year, but I watched it and I remember really liking it. Brian Landis Fulkins, who plays David, is just fantastic in this role. I mean, he plays this like lonely sort of nervous loser in that time period so perfectly. He's got the look, he's got the mannerisms down. Just fantastic performance, lead performance from him. And again, Will Wheaton was the perfect choice for the video friend, the Rent-A-Pal. Sort of funny, like, looking at the way dating has evolved, it's not all that different now. We're just on a phone instead, and we're judging people on even less. It's like a little bio and their photos, and we're like, nope, yep, nope. And when I say we, as if I even have been on a dating app ever, but
yeah,
it's this idea. There were like tapes you could, I don't know if it's quite as extensive as this where you'd pay and go rent them. I mean, you guys are older than me. Was this ever like an actual down to this? How accurate?
I know it existed. I don't know if there was full on businesses that you could go to.
Just this, yeah.
Rent. I mean,
I'm
assuming there was some like kiosks and stuff like that you would make the tape at, and that's where you get the tapes from. But it seemed like a pretty extensive enterprise in the movie.
The closest thing I could think of too was like Chuck Woolery saying 2 and 2 be back at you with Love Connection.
But yeah, I like this movie. It's tense and it has some funny moments, but also like deeply sad. David's very flawed, and I love that it takes us through the journey of his brain of, like you guys said, is this what he's seen or what we're seeing, or are we seeing through his lens? And when he becomes sort of obsessed, and it's like the slow descent where at the beginning he thinks it's ridiculous to watch the stupid tape, and by the end he's picked Andy over this girl, and his descent into madness is really crazy to watch. And again, I can't say enough great things about Brian Landis Fulkins. This performance, he just nails it and makes this movie. And I really, really love it. Directed and written by John Stevenson.
Hasn't really done anything else, really.
No, and I'd like to see more, written and directed stuff from him. This is the only thing he's directed at all.
And so Amy Rutledge is great too as the girl.
And I gotta add that when he storms back into that dating service place to get more Andy tapes, just he's completely lost his shit, and he gives that guy that death stare that has that one Rent-A-Pal tape, and he just rips it out of his fucking hand. Like the other dude's just like, damn, awesome stuff.
Oh yeah.
Yay.
Yay, Tad! What trivia do you have on this one?
There's almost nothing on this one. There is a cool little tidbit, not necessarily trivia, but if you really like this, the Rogue Commentary podcast did a commentary with John Stevenson, Brian Landis Folkens, and Jimmy Weber. So it's not. I don't think it's on the disc. It might be because Shout Factory actually has a disc out for this right now, and it's out of print. But they still have it like available on their website. It's this. They're not making any more. So if you really want to own this on physical media, go grab it from Shout Factory. But they recorded a commentary for their podcast, and then this is really. I don't know if this is interesting to anybody, but okay, hear me out. I'm reading this right off IMDb. When David plays one of his father's recordings for Lisa, because his dad was like a jazz musician. He puts a cassette tape into a boombox labeled with the brand name Curtis Mathis, which was an American electronics manufacturer started in 1957. Though they had a somewhat prestigious line of TVs in the 50s and 60s, this unit was likely a rebranded cassette player from one of the giant Japanese manufacturers like Mitsubishi or Pioneer, introduced during their financial decline. Not interesting to me, but you AV nerds might find.
I loved it.
Okay,
That's
all.
Where's that
Bottom of the
cricket?
barrel trivia.
Cue that cricket.
Yeah.
I liked it. No way.
All right. So, Andy, what's our next movie?
Our next movie comes to us from 2016, and it is called Beyond the Gates.
Hey, what if he's okay?
What do you mean?
I mean, not dead.
It's been 7 months. If he's out there, it's not our problem anymore.
Look at this place. Your dad really did a good job keeping it up, huh?
Yeah, well, not much could pull him out of here.
Do you have Dad's keys to the office?
What do you think's back there?
Guess we'll find out.
This is momentous.
Shut up.
Welcome, curious viewers.
We found this like weird, probably banned VCR game. It's like a board game, you know, but you gotta watch it.
Obtaining the 4 keys allows passage beyond the gates. Only there can your father's soul be saved.
Did you just hear that?
Where did you say you found this again?
Hey, did you try to get into the house last night?
Why? Did someone try and break in?
I felt like somebody was watching us.
Look, maybe you need to take a break from this for a while.
We think our father bought this from your store. What if we just stopped?
I'm not gonna stop until we find Dad.
And I suggest you play the game.
Where the hell did this come from?
Find your father. Take the final key. And become one with your new reality.
That lady was smoking hot. I think I want it.
Sure is now.
Okay, two estranged brothers reunite at their missing father's video store to liquidate the property and sell off his assets. As they dig through the store, they find a VCR board game dubbed Beyond the Gates that holds a connection to their father's disappearance and deadly consequences for anyone who plays it. I watched this one back when it came out, mainly because, you know, I'm a big fan of, well, you know, just those old VHS games, and, you know, Barbara Crampton. I mean, it had some star power. We also have Brea Grant, who was recently in Lucky, and she directed 12-Hour Shift, and she was one of the friends in Halloween 2 with Scout Taylor Compton.
The stylist.
Oh, yes, I haven't seen that yet, but yes. maybe some of you guys noticed one of he played the dirtbag friend in this. His name is Justin Wellborn. He was also the bully in Dance of the Dead when he watched that.
Oh, okay. That's probably
He
where
was
I
a little bit more
recognized him from.
redeemable in Dance of the Dead, but yeah, he's not very redeemable in this, and he gets what's coming to him. But a lot of these, like I said, they're there to liquidate their dad's video store, and it's pretty much when you walk into this, when they walk into this place, it's very, very bare bones mom and pop shop, just 2x4s, stacked on, for shelves. And, you can kind of probably get a sense of smell for this place of, like, stale popcorn, cigarette smoke, oscillating fans with the blue blades and the streamers on them and shit. But like they said, they come across this game, and they still don't know where their father is, and apparently it holds a connection to this game, and they think that their dad is on the other side. And as they begin to play it, sacrifices are happening within the game. And it turns out to be, their friends, but unfortunately, in order to, get the keys, in order to, get beyond the gates where their father is, every time they get a key, something happens, to their friends. And these brothers, they don't really, they get along, but they don't get along, But when they get the keys, there's a lot of gore, because they're pulling them out of what I think they were voodoo dolls, which represented their friends. And when that happens, whenever they pull a key out, they're basically pulling a key out of their friends. So, like, blood and guts go flying everywhere. I dig it for what it was. I enjoy the idea. Obviously, they, when you watch this, you're going to realize that they're on a bit of a budget, because the gate, it just happens to be in the basement with, and it's just, a
Purple
gate.
lights behind it. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, I can appreciate it for what they did. I mean, it's good, and I like the idea behind the film. Um, I don't dislike it. I like it a little bit more than just liking it, just for the points that I just made. But what did you guys think of this?
I'm really mad at myself for having waited so long. I really liked it a lot.
Oh, good.
Yay.
I immediately, and a lot of it was because of Chase Williamson. Like, the second I saw him, I'm like, I love that dude, especially from John Dies at the End, and I just instantly
forgot he was in that.
connected right to that dude. And so, and it almost gave it a little vibe of what's his name, that director,
Coscarelli.
Coscarelli, just in my head, and then like all the purples and blues and crazy lighting. But
soundtrack's great too.
Yep, soundtrack's good, and Barbara Crampton's good. And by the end, and Bree Grant gives it gives it a weight. Like, she's a great actor, and then even Graham Skipper, who started off kind of being annoying, but by the end, I was like, all right, I like this dude too. So it was like this nice little three guys. I don't know. I really had fun with it, and it had again a great color palette with the movie, the blues and purples. I know Mike had to have liked that, but just automatically gives it an Italian feel. And then anything shot in a video store is fucking awesome, and gives, I know you, plenty of vibes. We were lucky enough to shoot a movie in a video store once, and man, there's just so many great things about it. And so I love that. And just
There's another pro of VHS tapes, video stores.
Right, and they're all replaced now with good quality looking movies. But yeah, so I liked it, and I thought it was neat, and I liked it so much. I was almost mad I waited so long to see it. But
It's funny that you mentioned the film that we shot in a video store, because that video store gave me total Video Connection vibes.
Right?
Big time. Just like
secret back rooms. I'm just kidding.
And I like how the prologue to the movie is them as kids and mom and dad first opening up the video store, and it definitely has a great nostalgia feel to those early days of going to this new cool thing called a video store. And then when they show up to, like, clean out the video store after dad disappears, and you're in that video store element there, and just so many VHS tapes that they're all spined. You don't even have face outs anymore, and that's what really made me trigger Video Connection, because Video Connection, when it became a video store, it was like other video stores, just like popping and new, and everything's faced out, and it has like the newest movies, and and it really had a video store vibe. But as the years went on, it was like quantity over quality,
absolutely,
maybe
quantity over quality.
Because like the store just became like, hey, if we continue our business, we just need to keep adding more movies, and that just feels like the mentality of a lot of mom and pop video stores that really fought all the way to the end, to the point where their tapes were just it was almost unshoppable on how many tapes were in these stores. And so that aesthetic was a lot of fun.
A little spoiler to the trivia. This is actually shot on location at a real video store called Eddie Brandt's Saturday Matinee in North Hollywood, California. So this is a real video store that's still, at the time of filming, operational.
Oh, wow.
Awesome.
Wow. So that that horror icon Mount Rushmore mural, I'm assuming that's the real video store?
Yeah.
Nice. That's awesome. But yeah, this movie's great. I love the concept of like this VHS board game, which was a whole thing back in the day. I used to have a couple of them myself.
I have Nightmare.
Oh, I'm sorry. You have a hard time sleeping?
Yeah. Hilarious. Quality stuff.
Got Jason.
Anyway, yeah. So, and the idea of like this game opening up this portal and all this stuff is really cool concept. Again, you got like 3 characters that carry most of the movie, and they do a great job with it, even though what's his name is like extremely monotone to the whole movie, but there's still something really compelling about him, know, and you really get some great characterization of these 2 brothers, these 2 estranged brothers growing, going through this together and kind of growing their bond back, So I really appreciated it for the brother storyline as well. And then Barbara Crampton.
Yeah.
That's all I got to say.
I really liked the pacing of this. Like, it takes for fucking ever to get anywhere.
Yeah.
I
appreciate that.
I did.
That was probably my con.
It also helped. It was I got to watch this with Michelle, and she's not into horror movies so much, so she tried real hard to watch a movie with me, and she picked this one and I'm just so thankful that it took forever to anything really scary and bloody jumped out. But it also, I liked that. I ended up liking that too, because it really gave you time to get into the story. Totally.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen this cover, this poster art for a long time, and I always was very curious. I never read anything about it. It looked like a nod to an old Italian horror movie with the purples and blues in the title, Beyond the Gates. Isn't that the title of Lucio Fulci's biography?
That would make sense. Yeah.
It is, yeah. It's the same title, but
nice.
But this is like a little. I love these little indie movies. It feels like something I would watch at Halloween-a-Palooza, where it's like minimal cast. You can tell that they had a minimal crew and did what they could with what they had, but it wears it on its sleeve and it relies on story and performance. And it's a good mix of like, sometimes I want to throw something like that in and appreciate the nuance behind it, as opposed to something that is so fast paced and ADHD like VHS 99, where this is like the other end of it. You know what I mean? But I really enjoyed it. It had a lot of mystery to it. Sort of cool. Like I love the cast too, and just seeing the video store but it didn't like, it wasn't a movie that was relying like on nostalgia. It wasn't set in the 80s, and it wasn't, they could have easily gone some way where it actually is like, oh, we found this thing and, this tape, and it led to more and more. And it's like a great double feature with Rent-A-Pal. That would be a great one too to watch back to back, which I did. But it's sort of cool, like, like sister films in a way.
Cool, yeah. What trivia do you have on this one?
There is a lot on this one compared to everything else, so I won't go through everything, but the rules that they have when they open the game are actually just the set of rules for the Ouija board. If you look close, you'll just see that they just put in the Ouija board rules. To move the tokens around the board, they use green sticks and then remove those in post. So sort of like green screening. They use green sticks. There's a couple little nods throughout the movie, which I can't remember which one of you hate this, but there's obviously a character named, it's either Mike or Jason. There's a character named Gordon, which is a nod to Stuart Gordon, and the director he interned for Stuart Gordon, so he named one of the characters Gordon. And then there's a character named Hardesty, which Sally
It's
from
Jason
Texas
that hates
Chainsaw.
that.
Yeah, and it's your favorite movie.
It is, but
and the opening credit. This is a sort of cool little look into it. Much better than the last cassette tape thing that made everyone fall asleep. The opening credit scene was shot with a macro lens and colored lights, filming a partly disassembled VCR. The only crew were the director and the director of photography.
Huh.
So sort of cool how they shot that opening. And then, I think that's all the interesting stuff. Maybe one more quick one. The shirts of the three main characters corresponded to the colors of their game pieces. I don't know if anyone noticed that, but
I did know that. I did notice that.
Nice.
Yeah. All right.
Cool. All right. Well, thank you, Ted.
You're welcome.
All right. So those are the movies for this topic. So I think if we've learned anything, that VHS is awesome.
How do you...
I watch these all streaming, by the way, so...
Right. Good point, Ted.
You mean none of these were available on VHS?
Just wanted to say.
Busted. Got him. Oh, it's so good.
All right. So anyway. But we still have more show to come. So we're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, we'll do some segments. But first, you're going to hear a promo for our podcast network, the Prescribed Films Podcast Network. And it's home of so many great shows, including Fans of the Dead. Mike and Jeremy are fans of the Dead. They love everything horror and dedicated every episode to honoring a piece of the genre. They will discuss all kinds of great stuff in horror. So check them out and all the other amazing shows on thepfpn.com. We'll be right back.
You're listening to the Prescribed Films Podcast Network, home to hundreds of hours of free podcast entertainment. The shows on this network all have a common goal, providing you with the best discussions about movies and other forms of entertainment media. The PFPN hopes to fill your earholes with audio joy. Visit our website with links to all the other amazing shows at www.thepfpn.com. thepfpn.com. Thanks for listening.
And we are back. It is time to let's get in some segments here. We're going to start like we always do. Here's Jason with shout-outs.
It's time for
Shout-outs! 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 Shout-outs!
All right, we asked, what are your favorite videotape horror movies? And everyone only commented in our Facebook group. And that reminds me, if you're not in our Facebook group, what are you doing? Get over there.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ted's always posting cool-ass stuff. It's a great way for us all to... It's a good little community spot. Hang out. But anyway, so here are your shout-outs. We got up first Tim Lennerer. He says, movies that were only ever on VHS or movies that feature video cassettes in them. If it's column B, then my answer is Videodrome, which uses James Woods' oily charisma better than pretty much anything else he's ever been in. And it has a scene where someone plugs a videotape directly into the protagonist's abdomen.
It's a good one.
It's a good one. Brian Clark, he says, video violence 1 and 2 are a lot of fun.
Hell yeah, they are.
I don't know about
We're
that.
going to watch those.
Great. Thanks,
next
Brian.
episode.
Also, a super obscure flick called Barn of the Blood Llama that you could only ever buy directly from the filmmakers. It's every bit as ridiculous as it sounds.
Yeah, I want to see that.
Brian Clark's not done.
Ever.
Yeah, that's right. He says, if it's videotapes as part of the story, then the original Ring rules.
Yeah.
I first saw it on an unmarked bootleg VHS tape, which was included as a bonus with another movie I had ordered from a tape trader. I watched it alone in my dorm room in the dark, and not 10 seconds after the movie ended, my phone rang, and I've never been more freaked out in my life.
Whoa.
We had a similar thing. We watched.
Did that happen to us?
We watched a bootleg version of it before, right when it. Yeah, it was scary shit.
That's weird.
Now, technically, does Blair Witch 2 count because it becomes a VHS movie during the second part?
Oh well, yeah. No, yeah, because I mean, it plays. Videotapes do play an important part of the whole overall film. So
Blair
absolutely.
Witch could be one too. That whole movie's a VHS.
Yeah, the whole movie is found footage of the. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's one of Tad's favorites, so let's not talk too much about it. Tim Lennerer's back. He says, co-signing for the Japanese version, but not the American remake of The Ring. I could never get past the ridiculousness of the line, the coroner couldn't find anything wrong with the body, which fits the prop about as well as the dialogue about the antimatter space bird fits the giant claw. And then,
of course,
Brian says, no, the American remake sucks big floppy donkey dick, except no substitutes. Wow, he got me to read that.
I was going to say, if, at this point, can we just have them call in and discuss and we'll play it?
I know. They should just record their own little shout-out segment.
Except no substitute of donkey dick. Got
That's
it.
right. All right, we got Jacob McLaughlin. He says, when I first read your experience about your initial viewing on a separate post, I could only imagine how terrifying that must have been. He's referring to Tim's viewing, or Brian's viewing. He says, I will never see the remake, but one thing that Japanese horror movies do so well is they know that silence combined with unsettling imagery is so much scarier than any jump scare or loud music sting. I can only imagine that the cursed tape in the remake is filled with that nonsense. And then they just go back and forth. These friends, they just chew this. Okay, then I'm just going to skip down. We got Lisa from the Bad Movie Bunny podcast. She says, Videodrome, but for Debbie Harry. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then, Deborah. And Jacob's back. He says, Videodrome, not only is it easily my favorite David Cronenberg film, but it's one of my top 100 favorite movies ever. And while it's probably more of a neo-noir than a horror movie, although I think it's a combination of both genres, I really love Lost Highway, another movie in my top 100.
David Lynch.
While the videotapes only show up in the first half, they are genuinely unsettling scenes to watch. Ain't no shit about that.
Bill Pullman playing a saxophone.
Oh, that's... Oh, hey, Mike, look over there. The light's blinking on the answering machine.
I'll push play.
Hey, everybody, Attacker Brian here for my bi-weekly phone call. It sounds like the guys are talking about VHS horror this episode. And when I think of VHS horror, I go back to my childhood, the 80s. What a beautiful time to be alive and be a horror fan. And I loved Faces of Death. We popped those in every chance we got and watched people get murdered or killed, or maybe not get murdered or killed. Some debate, or no debate at all, I don't know. But I also loved Truth or Dare, A Critical Consequence. Tim Ritter, he's an awesome director, even though I don't feel like anybody else feels that way. And last and not least, the shot-on-video classic, Killer Refrigerator. What a great movie. And what a great time to be alive. Hope you guys have a good week. Take care. Bye-bye.
Hey, thanks, Godzilla, for your awful takes on movies. That's great. It's awesome of you to call in, but we appreciate it. And any of you listening want to call in and get your bad takes on the show, you can. You call us at 415-952-6857. That's 415-95-AOTKP. Leave us that voicemail, and we'll play it on the show.
I have a quick story before we move on about Faces of Death. So, Faces of Death was such a hit. There was like all these like super cheapy, crappy imitators that came out, and what was the name of that? What the hell was the name of that one? Anyway, I had never seen it, and I wanted to know what all the hubbub was about. So I rented it. And when I got home, I popped it in, and I'm like, "Oh, this is dumb." It sounded like somebody took one of those little tape. All the narration would sound like it was done on one of those little handheld tape recorders, and it was all just like public domain stock footage of dumb stuff. And I'm like, what is this? And then I looked, and it was a movie called Death Faces. I'm like, God damn it, I rented the wrong one. So, I had to take it back, and then I don't think about it for a long time, and then go to that same video store months later, and I'm like, I need to see Faces of Death. I need to. So I grabbed it, rented it. I'm like, okay, Faces of Death. I get it home, put it in. It was the same goddamn tape. It was Death Faces. And it was dumb.
You should have checked for Death Faces and see if Faces of Death was in there.
Yeah, maybe.
Still never seen it to this day.
Oh no, I've seen it. I've seen it too many
times. If I would suggest one, I'm just like, I think The Killing of America is a better portrayal of what you would be wanting to see. Have you guys ever seen that documentary?
I haven't seen that one, no.
Yeah, I mean that's.
And he's like, "Yeah, kill a bunch of kids in that one. It's great. I love it."
Well, no, it's pretty. It can be pretty gruesome stuff. Ugh. I mean, it's like you see a guy. I mean, you don't see the act itself, but you see the aftermath of like a guy. What happens to a guy top of a guy's skull after he puts a shotgun in his mouth?
There was a film series called Traces of Death that obviously took things way too far. Like Faces of Death, we all know now, like 75% of those
it's fake.
Is faked, and and watching them now, the novelty of knowing that and how cheesy the production value is and everything makes the Faces of Death movies actually fun. But then when you get into those Traces of Death films, it's not right.
Just mean-spirited and
Well, they do.
It's unnerving.
They take that really famous footage of that guy from the university that, that killed himself on camera on a news report. Like put the gun in his head and pulled the trigger, and then they looped it like it's funny. Like it's messed up.
I've never seen a single Faces of Death anything.
You're good.
I mean, me and my friends went to rotten.com all the time as kids.
Yeah.
So, that was my fill. But
Basically the same.
Faces of Death is, Peter Pan compared to Rotten.com. So.
Yeah. Well, all right, that's shout-outs. Oh, my God. All right, well, let's get into our last segment today. Hey, it's time for Insane's Picks.
Here it is, boys and girls. This is it. The Queen of Insane's Picks Hall of Fame. This one is personal because we are inducting my favorite actress from the 80s of 80s horror and B movies, the Scream Queen, and somebody I consider a friend, Linnea Quigley.
Oh, yeah.
You know what?
Barbara Linnea Quigley was born right here in my home state of Iowa in the city of Davenport on May 27th, 1958, to Heath and Dorothy Quigley. Her mother was a housewife and her father was a noted chiropractor and psychologist. By the 1970s, her and her family moved to Los Angeles, and Linnea began working at Jack LaLaney's spa. There she was encouraged to try modeling and acting, and quickly she began modeling for magazines and getting parts in commercials. Check out a very young, cute, adorable Linnea in a close-up toothpaste commercial. You can find that on YouTube. She began getting small roles in movies. Her first role was in a movie called Psycho in Texas in 1975. And right out of the gate, she began stealing the show. Her scene is the standout scene in that movie, and really the only scene worth watching. So much so that the image from her scene is front and center of the movie poster. She caught the acting bug quickly and would get bit parts in such films as Death Sport, Fairy Tales, and Auditions, all in 1978. Then Don't Go Near the Park, Summer Camp, and Stone Cold Death in 1979. But her first bigger role was in Graduation Day in 1981. The blonde girl in the number 46 track jersey was cut out of the film as much as possible since she was fired due to refusal to fulfill the nudity requirements. Linnea Quigley was hired to replace her. They were already way into filming when Linnea replaced the other actress. One of the early scenes that was shot was towards the end of the film, where the dead bodies are discovered under the bleachers. Linnea Quigley's decapitated head isn't there because it was shot earlier before Linnea was hired. However, the decapitated head of the actress who she replaced is in the scene. Besides modeling and auditioning for films, Linnea also began auditioning for bands. She first played guitar in an all-female band called Mad Whistle. Later on, Linnea Quigley managed to form her own band called The Skirts. Hayden Pomar played bass in the band. Her and Linnea Quigley first met on the set of Cheech and Chong's Nice Dreams in 1981. And some of the Skirts' music can even be heard in some of Linnea Quigley's later films. She continued to get acting roles and appearing in Young Warriors in 1983, Savage Streets in 1984, which is one of my favorites of Linnea's, and Silent Night, Deadly Night in 1984, which features probably her most iconic death scene where she was lifted up and impaled on deer antlers. Mm-hmm. She worked regularly still in small parts, but in 1985 she would get casted in a movie that would change her status forever and begin her career as a Scream Queen. And that is where we will pick up in part 2 on our coverage of Linnea Quigley as we induct her into Insane's Picks Hall of Fame.
How exciting! She's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, that's it, guys. That is it for our discussion on videotapes. And that is it for this episode of Attack of the Killer Podcast. So thanks, everybody, for listening. Special thanks to all the attackers out there for supporting the show. Couldn't do it without you. And I'm going to leave you with a little bit of advice. Be kind and rewind. Talk to y'all next time.
Oh no, could this be the end of? Attack of the Killer Podcast.